what's one of your favorite memories from this season?
Just the whole experience of going to state and getting to do it with my best friends, and the bus rides and the hotel stays and just the whole state run.
I'll remember all the fun times that we had and all of our fun practices and even the hard practices.
Just all the fun times we had and the memories we made as a team.
Like Stoddard County tournament when I hit the buzzer beater in the third quarter and like really brought the energy to the team and we won the game.
Just being able to be around the teammates, it was just fun, just, you know.
It'd probably be whenever we were doing the Christmas tournament. You know, everyone was sick, but we still had to push through it.
Probably the game during Advent. It was really tight and we had to come back.
My favorite memory is probably the Valley Catholic game when we was pretty down big in the fourth quarter and we hit 6 threes in one quarter in like 3 minutes. I don't think I'll ever forget that.
When did you think you had a real chance to play for a state championship?
When we made our comeback in the Stoddard County tournament against Advance, we were down 12 at halftime, and we just came out and played well and beat them.
I thought we had a chance to play for a state championship when we played against Alton. I saw the energy that we had when we came together. It was a clutch moment.
Mainly after that Valley game, we came out and we hit a few threes, and we did really good.
Well, after we had some magic against Valley, I knew we had something going well for us, so we knew we had confidence and we went all the way.
Probably the first time I played Advance, because we knew they were state ranked and we weren't at the time, so we knew it was gonna be a tough game, but we ended up blowing them out, so that's fun.
Really, during practices, I felt like when we were running through drills and stuff, we were pretty connected as a team.
I want to welcome Coach Massey and Coach Long to Very Interesting. They were the state runner-ups in 2A, and welcome to the show. Coach Massey.
Thanks for having us.
Coach Long.
Thank you.
You two are the brain trust and architects of this miraculous, magical team that we had the pleasure of watching this year. And it gave all the fans and Bernie a lot of great pleasure this year. So thanks for putting the team together and all the hard work that went into it. 29-2 though, Coach. When the season started, did you feel like that this team was capable of that? You very easily could have been 31-0.
Yes, that's actually something, honestly, that I didn't really think about or realize till after it was all over, was that five points between 2 games and we are 31-0. It's really remarkable to think about. As far as the record goes, we never really talked about that too much at the beginning. We just talked a lot about, making sure that we're ready to go every day with practice. And really the focus at the beginning is just trying to become a team. So as far as a record goes, I don't really recall a conversation, but I knew that we had a chance to be a good team, of course.
Coach Massey, there's so many things that stick out in my head over the season, like the Portageville game and the Bloomfield Christmas Tournament. Right. I think Portageville probably may have played their best game of the year at that game, the championship of the Bloomfield Christmas Tournament. And that's kind of one that got away. But it actually built character for the team, right? You got that loss under your belt.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes, especially when you're a young team, maybe haven't played in those environments, you have to go through those things to, prepare you for later in the year. And I think that was one of those situations where, we went through that and kind of learned. And after that, I felt like we got a lot better and kind of got rolling, after that. So it was definitely good for us to experience and go through that.
Coach Long, have you always wanted to be a coach? Who inspired you to be a coach?
Yes, I think I can say that. I think if you go back to my time attending Bernie and then the coaches that I had Coach Zoll in junior high and elementary PE, and then Coach Hale in high school, and they were both definitely big influences. I feel fortunate to be able to say that I have good relationships with both of them today, and am especially close with Coach Hell and his wife today. So they had a big impact in my life. And I did know from a young age that I wanted to coach. So it's always been something that I wanted to do.
Coach Massey, who inspired you to be a coach?
Two guys really, Morris Carnes, who has recently passed away, and then Brad Botch, the high school principal at Bernie. He came in when I was an 8th grader. And to that point at Bernie, we had always had coaches that, were filling in, whether it would be a tech guy or whatever. And he came in, and when he took over and things really got serious, it kind of builds a desire, to want to keep getting better and better. And those were two guys that, definitely were able to push, me especially to the direction of coaching.
Bernie's always had a tradition of winning. What do you relate that to? Because you were in the state championship as assistant in 2010 and 11. You just got done with the state championship in 2021-22 season. So what do you relate Bernie's winning tradition to?
I think a lot of it has to do with the community. We have good support. We have good parents. The kids that we coach, the parents want the kids to work hard. They want them to be pushed. They want them to behave. They want them to represent the school well. And I think that the idea of a strong work ethic is really important to the people of Bernie, and that has resulted in being able to coach a lot of good teams and have a lot of good players. So I would say that's probably the main indicator, the biggest key. And then we have a really supportive school. We have a supportive administration. We have a supportive Board of Education. People get excited for sports at Bernie. So I think that is some of the biggest reasons why.
They are not afraid to make it a game. Nice move by Noah Foster, baited him up, and he ran right past him.
Noah Foster, thanks for being here today. It's been a magical season for the Bernie Mules. You in particular had many, many ups, very few downs this season. You're known as the fastest man on the court. Dribbling, defense, your defense is tenacious. Many times you got tasked with guarding the best player on the other team. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm a good athlete. We work hard in the weight room. So every game, coach just put me on the best player because I'm fast and keep up with them. And it just worked out well. It was a good matchup. I basically guard 1 through 5, so he just put me on the best player every game.
How does it make you feel, though, to be the fastest man in the state of Missouri on the basketball court?
Oh, it's great. I just get the ball and I go. Nobody can stop me once I have the ball, full speed.
Just from the backyard of me playing basketball with you in my old age, you've got a shot that's unblockable. And nobody knows it because you're good at disguising it, and you kind of got a hook shot. And how many points did you score just off of that layup?
I could probably get 10 a game, average 10 a game, just easy hook shot.
We call it snowbirding, but
yeah.
You got so many points this year just because you outran the competition to the other court.
Which Coach Long, he just told me to leak out once we got the rebound, so I just take off. And it worked out.
Noah Foster, the fastest man in the state of Missouri, 2022. Congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
Coach Massey, what makes this team special?
I think something that they're really good at is we've talked about before is they stay loose, and they all get along really well. I mean, you've kind of noticed since we've just been here, freshman through senior. I mean, they're all kind of on the same page and talking and communicating with each other, and they have fun when they're together. And I think that has a lot to do with being able to come out and practice hard every day and enjoying that. Even when it's not always enjoyable, running up and down the floor and practicing for 3 hours, they can go in and every grade can bond together and laugh and have fun afterwards. And that kind of keeps them coming back more every single day.
So they have fun.
They do.
Coach Long, what do you think made this team special this season?
I echo that. This was, and it's as I've talked about before. They taught me a lot about being loose. I'm really thankful that we had this experience together this year because that was something now being where I'm at now, looking back. that was something that I needed to learn. Hey, it's okay to be loose and not take everything too seriously. I think that's the biggest reason why aside from our practice habits, I think that was the biggest reason why we were able to be so successful, is that they just stayed loose and they had a good time. And we know that's important, and I've been coaching for 21 years, so it probably should not have taken that long for me to figure that out, but it did. It was my journey, and I really learned a great lesson this year being around these kids and the importance of being excited and enthusiastic.
This is a stupid question, but what do you mean by that? Contrast this team that you're saying was loose and made you loose to your state championship run in 2010, to those teams.
I think we probably felt, as coaches, maybe felt more pressure, or maybe worried about every single little detail. Not that it wasn't important. Those were great teams. We did, the kids did a great job. But I just feel like, and maybe age plays a part into it as well, being much older now. I just really feel like that I can look back and say, man, I enjoyed this entire year, like more so than any other year. And all the other years were great too. So it's just one of those things. It's kind of crazy, you would like to learn that a lot younger, because I think it can lead to even more success and obviously more enjoyment.
So you took it more like probably as business. This is business. We got to win this game back in 2010, 2011. So you had more fun.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
So Coach Long, about 6 months or a year ago, I forgot when it was, I texted you and said, would you come on the show and do an interview? And you said, I'm an introvert. I'm bashful. I don't really talk that much. Most people find that hard to believe with your actions on the court. You're very demonstrative on the court.
Yeah.
Coach Long still coaching hard over there on the sidelines. They've got a 20-plus point lead and still teaching on the sidelines.
Every moment on the floor is a learning experience with Jason Long. He will teach the whole game, and he's up by over 20.
Like my brother Brad was at the Saxony Lutheran game.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought he was a quiet guy. He goes crazy over there on the sidelines, don't he? He's like, he's very intense. So tell us a little bit about Coach Long, the person off the court versus on the court. Well,
I think off the court, if I'm not around close friends or if I'm not at work, I think I've just always had a hard time getting comfortable with people if I didn't know them real well, and I do sometimes come off as maybe a jerk, maybe someone that maybe doesn't like to talk, and that's not really the case. You can ask my wife about this. My wife she'll either get upset with me or she'll crack up if we go into a place and there's a lot of people, like maybe it's a gym, an arena, restaurant. I'll walk with my head down, and I don't want to be first, and I don't want to walk out in front of everybody. I don't know why. That sounds kind of silly, but I think it has to do with a comfort level, and I'm very comfortable when I'm coaching. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's part of it.
Well, from one introvert to another, thank you for doing the show today.
You're welcome.
Coach Massey, this seems like a typical good cop, bad cop deal here. So when he's going crazy over on the sidelines and he's intense, you're kind of the calm guy and the guy sitting on the bench keeping everything calm, right?
I am. It's one of those things is if we're both feeding off each other emotionally and going nuts, it's kind of hard to see different things. I've even noticed if I'm coaching the JV or something, I may be losing my mind about something, and he's like, hey, do this. Well, it's because he's thinking past what just happened. And so for him, when I'm sitting over there, I'm just trying to think of ideals that maybe can better the situation, where maybe he's coaching the guys out on the court, and I'm thinking, well, what do we need to do next, or what can we change here? And so I just throw ideals out to him And there's times that, you know, I'll say something and I'll get no response. And I laugh, you know, and I think, you know, he's probably right here. He's thinking too. And then there's times that, you know, I may throw something out there and he's like, you know what, bam, let's do it. And that's been, you know, that's been a lot of fun.
It's actually a funny story if we could tell it.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so we're at Alton, and it's in the overtime, and the game is tied, and we're coming out of the last timeout. I think there's 15 seconds or so left, and the kids are out there on the floor, and we're getting ready to inbound the ball, and coach says, "What play are we going to run?" And I turned around and I said, "I want to run that play that gives us the game-winning shot." And that's all I said. That's not the name of any play that we run. And then Tristan makes the shot. So that was kind of funny because I said that to him and he started laughing, and then we both started laughing a little bit, you know.
You know, and for me, you know, I was just thinking, hey, what do we need to set up here? And when I asked him that, you know, he gave me this look like we're gonna run the play that wins the game. And
Yeah.
I said, boy, I like that play.
Ball game on the line and crowd on their feet. What a way to end this one if the Bernie Mules can pull it out. 13 seconds now to 12. We're under 10, and here comes Johnson starting it up. He drives inside, shot up. It's good! Bernie's up! Here comes Cisco with the ball. Long heave. Bernie wins! Bernie wins! They're going to state. The Bernie Mules have won this basketball game, folks.
And it worked.
That's a good one, you know, and we ran it.
That's actually exactly how it went.
You know, we scored and it all worked out. So it was.
So was the play give Tristan the ball and everybody else get out of the way?
No, not necessarily. It was just get Tristan the ball and try to spread their zone out and see if he could find some room to penetrate, and he did. And
we actually had tried to do the same thing at regulation. You know, try to put some shooters in the corner, have John come up and set a high ball screen. And then let Tristan penetrate in the lane, and if he's open, shoot it. If not, kick to a shooter, you know, pretty simple. And we didn't execute it. So really there wasn't anything different between, you know, the fourth quarter and the overtime. It was the same thing, just the kids did a better job of executing it, and we were lucky enough the shot went in.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, speaking of Tristan, he just made All-State. He's a very special player. I've been following him since Pee Wee Leagues myself because he's in my son's class, but what makes Tristan a special player besides, I know he puts the work in every day. What makes him a special player?
I think Tristan made the biggest jump in just the area of being mentally tough. We believe, and you know, a lot of people believe this as well in basketball, you know, the guy that's got the ball in his hands the most, he's going to have to be pretty tough. Because you know you can't turn it over. That's one thing we were really good about this year was we averaged a little less than 7 turnovers a game, and that started with him because the ball's in his hands. So he really developed a strong mental toughness this year to where he was willing to handle the responsibilities that came along with being a point guard, but also a player that could do a lot of other things too. He could score, and he also was a good assist man. So his willingness to just be able to accept coaching when he needed it and say, you know what, we're all going the same direction, I think that had a lot to do with his success this year because he's a good player.
I'd like to welcome junior guard from Bernie Mules, Tristan Johnson. Tristan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let me rephrase that. All-State Tristan Johnson from the Bernie Mules. Great season, magical season. Was glad to be a part of it. You know, I've watched you since you were in the Pee Wee Leagues, and your hard work has paid off, no doubt about it. Tristan, you've averaged 17 points a game, 7 assists, lots of rebounds. Bernie, for a small team, was a really, really good rebounding team. You were 29-2. Like I said, very well could have been 31-0, scored how the old ball bounces. But it was an exciting season. What was it like to play on a team like the Bernie Mules this year?
It was amazing. I mean, you had several players that could go out and drop 20 points, so there's really no pressure going to any games, and every game we was treated the same as the last.
This team was stacked with rebounding, scoring. I mean, you kind of had to be a little bit selfish to get a shot off in this game, right? Because everybody on the team are shooters. You know, Hunter Corzine proved himself here to end, He saved all his shots to the end.
Yeah.
He really come through on the three-pointers. Micah, the microwave. It's really hard to get your shots off on this team that it's an offensive explosion. One thing, though, Tristan, that gets overlooked is your tenacious defense. Your team brought the defense for 4 quarters. Tell us about that.
Well, in practice defense, we practiced it for about 2 hours probably, and same thing with rebounding for about 30 minutes, but we make sure that we can go out there and guard the best of the best so we can win.
And it really is difficult for an offensive player to shine through when you've got so many weapons on your team, but you average 17 points a game and 7 assists on a team that was stacked with lots of scores. Any player on any given night could score 20 or 30 points. Mm-hmm. You had a few off nights, very few, but the other players picked up the slack in those nights. You brought it every night, and the coaches who saw you play recognized that, making you the highest vote getter on the all-district team. And that recognition carried over to your selection on the all-state team. What does that mean to you, Tristan? Your hard work has paid off, persistence paid off. What's that mean to Tristan Johnson to be an all-stater?
It means a lot. It's a real confidence booster, especially since I'm a junior. So I'm going to have a lot of confidence going into next season. Hopefully can get it a second time.
Well, Tristan, I can't really do this interview without mentioning one special person in your life and really every kid's life at school. My youngest son, Jonathan, and I watched the state championship here at the office in the room that you were just in eating. Granny. Mm-hmm. I could have swore I heard Granny yelling at you during the state championship. She's your biggest fan. Oh, yeah. Your dad's your biggest fan. Your mom's your biggest fan. So tell us what it was like to have your family there with you.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, my family's just amazing people. They just want to see me succeed, and that's really all you can ask for.
Well, she's everybody's granny, and she is a super fan. She's a big supporter of yours. At what point in the season did you feel like this team, we can do this?
Well, we always kind of knew from starting preseason that we had a chance to do some good things, but really after we came back down double digits in the county tournament to Advance and beating them 3 times, I mean, Advance was a really good team. They were state ranked at one point. After beating them 3 times, we knew we could go far and do some historic things.
Well, Tristan, what made this team special? Y'all seem to mesh at all times.
Oh, just our bond in general. I mean, we're all really close friends. We love to joke around with each other, and you know, you can't really replace one another. Each person has their role.
Well, Tristan, thank you for being here today. Congratulations on being All-State. That's the first time Bernie's had an All-Stater in quite a few years, and it's quite an accomplishment. You left it all on the court this year, and once again, congratulations on a season well done.
Thank you.
Well, just a short time ago, we had a chance to sit down with Tristan and talk to him about being All-State. Was that your first player to be All-State?
Yes.
The first of many, right?
Let's hope.
Coach Massey, what was the turning point of the season? I know my oldest son, Joe, came home after the first game and said, I'm sure this was hearsay, Coach Long thinks we're going to state. This is his best chance he's had since he's been here. I don't know if you actually said that after the first game or not, but was there a moment, Coach Massey, that was a turning point and it clicked and you said, we're going to state this year?
You know, there was obviously down the stretch a lot of games, you know, that you come up big and you feel like, oh man, this might be the year. But thinking back and just thinking about it, you know, I really think after that loss that we talked about, you know, to Portageville, but then we came out and we were able to win Stoddard County. And I think after we had beat Dexter and then beat Advance, that we got to playing a little bit better, you know, just a little smoother offensively. And you know, there was times against Portageville, the game we lost, that we struggled to score. And I felt like down the stretch there, especially after beating Advance, and the way we did that in Stoddard County coming from behind, you know, not playing a great first half, but still able to win, you know, that we thought, and especially me, I thought in my mind, well, we can definitely win, you know, this district and move on. And if you do that, you have a great chance, you know, of making it to the Final Four. Typically, especially if you can just get out of this area of basketball, you know, and after being down 9 or whatever, we were down at half and then winning by 17, I really thought, wow, we can do this, you know, and so that for me was kind of a turning point.
Well, Coach Long, I was really worried about was Advance. You played them 3 times or 4 times?
3.
I was worried about the third one because everybody always says the old cliche, It's hard to beat a team 3 times. But actually the third game was probably your easiest against Advance, right? You got a little relief there. But let's don't talk about Advance. I want to talk about Saxony Lutheran, because most people think that was a genius move that you made, not letting your team take off at the end of the season. You could have took off for a whole week before district started, but I think it was a late addition to the schedule. You added Saxony Lutheran to the schedule right at the end of the season, and it was a really, really tough game. Tell us about that decision you made.
Well, we knew that there was going to be a chance that we were going to be the 1 seed in the district, and whoever the 1 seed ended up being, we knew that once the bracket was set, once the tournament schedule was set, that the 1 seed would not play until Tuesday of the week of the district tournament. And our last regular season game was on the Tuesday of the last week of the regular season. So as you said, that would have given us a week without a game. So it was one of those things where if we played on Saturday, it didn't really bother me if we had a couple of days, but we didn't want to go that long. So we had to wait until the seeds came out. And then once the seeds came out, we were fortunate enough to be the 1 seed, and I started looking for some opponents, and I called around a few places, and it was kind of difficult, and then hooked up with Saxony Lutheran, and that was a good game to play, because number one, they're good team,
really good team,
bigger kids. We with us being small in stature, we needed to play a team that was going to push us physically, and they really did, being able to play it at their place. It ended up being a great game for us to pick up, and I didn't really care if we won or lost, because we needed some adversity. We needed to be pushed. We needed to be pushed outside of our comfort zone, and it ended up being a way better experience for our kids than I originally thought it would be. So I was happy that we were able to play Saxony Lutheran.
It was a great atmosphere up at Saxony Lutheran. I happened to be in the stands, and it was a very close game, and I think it was a great tune-up for what was to come.
Yes, it ended up being an excellent tune-up, because if you followed us throughout the playoffs, all the teams were much bigger than us across the board, and ended up being really big for our kids mentally to go on their floor, like you said, big crowd, great crowd, and have to battle and make some key plays down the stretch. We got a key defensive stop late, which is really big, because on the home team in tight games late in the game, if they have the last possession, a lot of times they tend to have momentum on their side. So it was a really solid victory for us.
Coach Massey, let's talk about this team just a little bit first, the rebounding. Bernie did have a small team, but almost every position rebounded, I noticed. That was one of the biggest assets to the team is Tristan, Peanut, Hunter Corzine. They all played key roles in rebounding. There wasn't anybody on the team just sitting back waiting for the long rebound. Everybody was crashing the boards.
That was kind of one of the things that we talked about. We've been, since summer last year. If we're going to be any good, we're going to have to rebound. And since my time at Bernie and helping with Jason and Coach Botch, practices have been really well, but there hadn't been a ton of time spent on rebounding. And we talked all summer, if we're going to win it, especially late in playoff, we're going to have to rebound the basketball, and we're really small. And Coach Long has done, every practice we had at least, I'm not exaggerating, 20 to 30 minutes focused on rebounding. Until we won the district tournament, it was every single day it was incorporated in the practice plan, because we knew that if we could, own the backboard or win the backboard every night, we had a good chance of winning. And so it just became a focus point, and the kids did a good job of, being able to handle that and then transition what we worked on in practice and doing it in a game. So
maybe one of the shortest, best rebounding teams I've ever seen, because they crashed the boards hard.
Oh yeah, 2 guys over 6 foot, one is right there, could be 5'11" maybe. And if you go back and I think all season long, you look, I mean, there's probably not many games, even, you know, to the state championship game that we were out rebounded. So, you know, that's, you know, credit to them.
So Camden, welcome. Camden Powell. Camden, I was watching the state championship game. I think it was 1 or 2 3-pointers you drained. I thought you sealed the deal, and Bernie was on their way to a state championship. But I don't want to talk about that. What I want to talk about is, you're a fan favorite all over the region. Very popular player in Southeast Missouri. But the fans are wanting to know, how come in every single game, and we broadcasted a lot of games here at A-Corp Media this year, why did you do this in every game?
I mean, my coach calls it the Camden, but I mean, it just happens. I don't know. It's just like a brain thing. I don't know. It's just natural for me. I don't know.
Is it a nervous twitch or what?
Probably. It's probably a nervous twitch, honestly.
You know, almost everybody that commits a foul doesn't think they foul.
Yeah.
And I thought it was that. You know, I didn't do that, ref. Was it towards
I mean, sometimes it can be like that. I mean, I got a tech one time for doing that. So, I mean, yeah, it could be that sometimes, but most of the time it's just a reaction without thinking.
It's kind of your trademark now, you know?
I mean, so is dancing. I like to dance on the court a little bit, too.
I saw some of that at the end of the semifinal game.
I mean, it brings the energy to the team and the stands. It makes me comfortable. So, I mean, if it works, it works.
I think you did a great job of keeping the coaches loose. I think you kind of kept the team loose. And like I said, you're a fan favorite. But just to end the 2022 magical season for the Bernie Mules, could you give us your trademark look one more time?
What's my trademark look? Like this? Or like that. I mean, I do this a lot too.
Yep,
I like to grab the hair.
I forgot about that one, yeah. Give us your trademark one more time. The ref makes a bad call, yeah.
Rid of this.
Coach Massey made some great points. There's so many heroes and unsung heroes. You know, Hunter Corzine went crazy on 3-pointers the last 2 or 3 games. Someone always stepped up on this team. If Tristan was cold, Camden Powell would step up and hit some threes and hit the boards. Somebody was always stepping up to the plate, correct?
Yes. And that's what you got to have if you want to have a season like this. And I think it goes back to practice. Hunter worked his tail end off all year long, and you know he didn't get as many shots early on. But Hunter's a good shooter, but you know everybody can't shoot 5 threes a game. You know there's just not that many possessions. But I don't think he would have been able to step up like he did late in the year against Valley. Shots he made in the state championship game. You know, I don't think you can do that unless you work your tail end off all year. You know, I think that's something that's got to be built. So that's such a credit to him and all the kids because their practice habits are what came through for them this year.
He saved all of his shots to the end, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It was a magical season. We enjoyed broadcasting Bernie games all year. We loved being a part of it. And thank you for such a great season. But the very last question for you, Coach Long, is Coach Massey's talking about the kids spoken into existence. And
Right.
Tristan's already spoken into existence that he's going back next year. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of pressure, so keep having fun. But it's already been spoken into existence by Tristan. You're going to be back next year.
Well, better get to work there because you know, I would love for that to happen, but there's as the returning players know, there's going to have to be a lot of time spent if we're going to be able to achieve that goal, which would be awesome.
Well, guys, thank you for being here today. Coach Massey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Coach Long.
Thank you for having us.
I'm going to give you the last word, though, because I know what this means to you. The Bernie community rallied around this team like no other team I've seen before. My wife and oldest son was in Springfield. Joel didn't talk all the way home. He was so sad about the loss. But what did the community support mean to you, Coach Long?
We're just so thankful to be able to be a part of such a great community. The Bernie community, it always rises up in times like this. They do a great job of supporting our school, supporting our kids, helping in any way that may be needed. And the community was a big part of our success this year. And I know that the coaches and the kids, we all definitely want to say thank you to the community.
and success breeds success. So the community's expecting Coach Long and Coach Massey to be back next year, so no pressure, guys. But we're going to put an ending on this magical season, and it was a great season. It was exciting, and thank you for being here. I hope we can document this history because it's one of the most historical things that's ever happened to Bernie, and that's what our job is here today, just to document history. Thank you.
John, one of the keys to your success this year in getting to the state championship was, I feel like you got in the best shape of your life. And you told me one time that was kind of due to you ran cross country this year. Tell us a little bit about getting in shape.
I've always struggled with it my whole life. I hate running, but I just decided this year, you know what, senior year, in 50 years it's not going to matter, so let's just run cross country, and ran it with basically the whole basketball team. And not only I got in the best shape of my life, but I think everybody else was in the best shape that they've ever been in.
You know where that really paid off, John, was on defense. Your defense was tenacious. And I call it 40 minutes in college basketball. The Arkansas Razorbacks used to have 40 minutes of hell. And y'all's defense was 32 minutes of that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a big part of conditioning is your defense. And I think it paid off this year, don't you?
Yes. Everything we did in practice was defense, and our success was because of our defense and getting runouts, and defense led to our offense.
Coach Massey, Coach Long, congratulations on a historic run. We're documenting history here today. It hasn't happened too many times in Bernie's history, so congratulations to the 2021-2022 Mules.